Hey, it's Becky. This is Sunday, and I'm just doing our assignment for Global Citizenship Part 2. I didn't do my makeup today, so here's something I thought you might enjoy more because this makes me inexplicably happy. So I guess the major idea in Nussbaum's Cultivating Humanity is the idea of the rigid one-way learning versus a fluid learning that asks questions and looks for more in the world around you. Whereas that rigid one-way learning is idealistic yet narrow, and it has a goal in mind. Whereas with the fluid Socratic learning, it encourages people to be a philosopher, to be free-thinking, and not ruled by authority. So she outlines 3 capacities. The first one being the examined life, so critically thinking about oneself and traditions, and it questions all beliefs, and it doesn't accept them only because they've been passed down and it's always been done that way. And actually I've really connected this to Paul Olson talking about the Easter ham at this last AGM, and told the story of a grandmother making a ham and cutting off the ends, and that tradition being passed down to the parents and then to the grandchildren. Well, fortunately, they were able to go back in time and ask the parents, and the parents had no idea why they cut off the end of the ham. Or the grandchildren had no idea why they cut off the end of the ham. The parents had no idea why they cut off the end of the ham. So they asked the grandparents, and the grandparents' answer was because the pan that they used to cook the ham in was too small for the ham, so they always cut off the end of the ham. So, some things that we do and some beliefs that we hold are not always current, they're not always correct. So it's important to think of that idea of the Easter ham. The second capacity is the ability to see themselves as part of a larger picture, and it's not only in their own little community, so like their school or their class or their personal communities, but as a member of the human community. One of the things we do at our school is our Kids in Philanthropy program, which I introduced in 2011-2012, and that program really gets students to look outside of their privileged places and examine the needs in our own community. I know there's other groups in our school that examine the needs of global communities, which I think is awesome, and I'd like to see the two do more work together in the future. So that's the second capacity. And the third capacity is that narrative imagination, or as I read it, empathy, really. So learning empathy for students can be as simple as the early years programs, learning empathy, roots of empathy, respect programs. But it can also fit into programs like our Kids in Philanthropy program, like I was talking about. And also, I really connected these 3 capacities with the ELA curriculum. It's not explicitly inside of the curriculum. However, it allows for interpretation of these capacities and these ideals. It gives a little bit more wiggle room, I guess you might call, for teachers to impart these, questions and ideas on their students so that they may think about them. I know last year with my group of grade 7s, I was able to, sorry, this is my favorite song, I was able to have them think about, social justice issues that are in their community and around our world, and it really, you could see a visible change in them after they had explored this, put themselves in that position. I know specifically one student I had was making comments about homosexuals in class one day, and when it came time to do a social justice assignment in English, he actually chose to research what was going on in Russia at the time of the Olympics, and I noticed an immediate empathy. He was really able to imagine himself in that position, and it really changed his behavior for the better, I feel. So I guess in a nutshell, not so much of a nutshell, but that would be the three capacities. I hope you've enjoyed it, and have a great day. Bye. And for those of you who may not have seen The Sound of Music, I really recommend it. It's my very favorite movie.